Okay, quickly did a search, and the best description I could find was through the actual RFC page, RFC 3736. It says right here, nodes that have obtained IPv6 addresses through some other mechanism such as Stateless Address Autoconfiguration or manual configuration can use Stateless DHCP to obtain other configuration information such as a list of DNS recursive name servers or SIP servers. So basically what that means is I enable DHCPv6 servers, I configure it, and I put in the DNS server's name, and then I go to Router Advertisements and I set this to assisted. Now what this does is when my computer, when I switch on the IPv6 stack on my computer, it will configure itself with an IP address from using Stateless Autoconfig, but it will also ask the DHCP server for information for extra options, in this case being the DNS servers. So let me quickly set that up. So I'll start, actually, you know what, yeah, I'll just copy and paste this entire thing. I'll just leave like 2 or 3 IP address, or the last one. I'll change the last one to 0, 2, all the way to F's, and I'll pull up the DNS servers of Google. And I want these to be assigned, and then 8844. And that's it. Now this is going to enable DHCP server 6 server on my local network, and it is going to assign DNS servers. Since I don't have, well, you know, let's see. You can see that this is going to change. Let's apply, save. Okay, that's been enabled, and I still have it as unmanaged, so I don't think it's going to use the DHCP server since I have it as unmanaged. If I had it as managed, then my computer would be looking for an IP address using DHCP. But when the Router Advertisement Daemon sends out its advertisements, it says to all the clients on the local subnet to configure themselves using Stateless Autoconfig. So I'm going to change it to managed and quickly show you, save, close, and quickly show you the IPv6 address that it's going to get. See, it's going to change from A180. Is it going to do it right away? No. You know what? I'm going to force it. Now if I do details, nothing is there. Enable it. Details, let's wait a bit. Let's do a ping till then. This isn't working, is it? A180 default gateway, it picked up the default gateway, link global, and I did do it managed, right? Managed for assignment through a DHCPv6 server, and I have enabled this. Everything seems perfectly fine. So let's go back. Maybe it's just taking time. I'll pause the video and let's see if it actually does pick it up. I'll be back as soon as it does. Okay, I think this is another another quirk of having your LAN and WAN connection on the same switch. You see, I finally did manage to get an IPv6 address, and the IPv6 default gateway, well, that's done through the router advertisement, but the options IPv6 DNS servers are there too. Now what I did was do this, use same settings as DHCP server, DHCPv6 server, hit that and hit save, and router priority. Now what I think that is happening, and which is why it took so long, is that I have two DHCP servers on the same switch. One is my DHCP server that's providing me with an IP address on my WAN interface, and I'm assuming that's done by Teksavvy. This is my ISP who's running the DHCP server on the PPPoE connection. And second is the one that I'm running myself, this one. So basically there are two DHCPv6 servers running on the switch. One is providing through PPPoE, and the other one is providing through the local area network card. So which is why it took so long, but it eventually did pick it up, and that is also the reason I kept my router advertisement too high to have. I wish it was a DHCP option somewhere. Maybe there is. Additional boot P dynamic. Anyway, that's a topic for a different video. Right now I just want to demonstrate the different options for assigning IP addresses, IPv6 addresses to your devices on your LAN side. So managed was one, which is basically assign it through a DHCP server, and let me show you that it actually has FFF2, so it's picked up not a 0 or a 1, but it's picked up a 2, and it has assigned DNS servers from the DHCPv6 options. Next, what I want to do is show you something called IPv6 Stateless DHCP. And actually that's what I started off with, and I went on sort of a tangent on actually how to assign IP addresses using DHCP server. Anyway, let me just quickly tell you again. DHCP, stateless DHCP is your device, my computer in this instance, will ignore to go, will not get an IP address from the DHCP server. It'll only get the DNS servers, or whatever options are defined in the DHCP servers config. There are more options. I think domain name search. There's some other additional DHCP options that I can define in the advanced menu of the DHCPv6 server. So I don't want this address range to assign my IP address. I want to assign it using Stateless Autoconfig. So let's get to that. Alright, so Stateless Autoconfig is basically me changing is to assisted. Hit save, close. Everything else remains the same, and now I need to reset my local area connection so that now it picks up, it autoconfigs itself using Stateless Autoconfig, and it picks up the DNS servers from the DHCP server. Let's try that now. Nothing here. Wait, and let's enable. Wait a bit till then and run a ping. Details. There. It did assign itself an IP address using Stateless Autoconfig, but it is assigning it an IP address from the DHCP server also, which I don't want it to do. This is fine. I am fine with the Stateless Autoconfig. This is not. Let's see what it uses to go out to the internet. And it's using the one assigned by DHCP. No, I wanted to use the stateless autoconfig one. And why is it doing that? Let me disable it again. And let's go to the router. Maybe it's from the lease that's already there. If I delete this lease, is there a way to delete a lease? No way. Oh, there, right there. Delete this DHCP lease. So done. Refresh, and then let me enable IPv6 again. And let's run a ping. This time I'll do it in an indefinite dash means keep on pinging. Oh, that was pretty quick. And it's doing the same thing. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is open up Packet Tracer and see why this is doing this. Alright, so I've started up Packet Tracer. I'm going to disable IPv6. I will refresh this and start IPv6. Should give me a starting point and see what's going on. Okay, let me just scroll back up. Release, that releases the DHCP address. Router solicitation basically tells the router or asks if there is a router. Router advertisement, router replies back, and it's not replying back as it should. Or is it the Router Advertisement Daemon that's the issue? Other configuration, this flag basically tells it to pick up the other options that are defined in DHCP. Managed address configuration basically tells any DHCP client to pick up an address from DHCP, which I don't want. This should be set to 0. And that's the router preference that we had. I had it high, now it's basically this thing high here. What else? So this is, and then the rest of the options are fine. I mean, it is saying prefix, I'm the router for this prefix, which is good. DHCP DNS server options. But why is this flag set? This flag should definitely not be set. And what other options? So it says to auto-configure itself. So auto-configure yourself using stateless autoconfig, but also request an IP address, which is what this is doing. And that is what actually my computer is doing. It's configuring a stateless autoconfig IP address, and it is also requesting an IP address from the DHCP server, which I don't want. I only wanted to get the DNS servers. Again, I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to see why. I think there might be an issue with the Router Daemon on pfSense. I'm going to see why the Router Daemon is in assisted is asking its clients to configure with stateless autoconfig and to get a DHCP IP address. So let me check that. I'll be back. Alright, I think I figured out what the issue was. So I hit managed and I did save, the Router Advertisement Daemon configuration file had, this is in managed mode, the managed flag on, other configurations, basically the DNS settings flag on, and the autonomous flag off, which is basically don't configure yourself with autoconfig. So which is the good one? This is the good behavior of in managed. In assisted, I noticed one quirk, so I hit save, and now I'm going to reread that file, and over here you'll see this flag right here, managed flag. This should have been off, and obviously this autonomous one on. Why is this on? I don't know if this is default behavior by design or if this is a bug, but basically I'm going to edit the PHP file that controls the behavior of this file being auto-generated, and I think it is in etc includes, and the name of the file is services.inc. So I'll go down and I hunted this down, so I know basically which this function right here is what takes care of writing that router daemon config file. So let's go down. This is all in PHP, so it's fairly simple to edit, and this will be managed and assist right here. So case managed and assist, it has the same flags. That should not be the case, so I'm going to append my VI is a little rusty. There. So I'm going to add this over here, and this should be off. Ooh. This should be off, and I will backspace. Backspace doesn't work. Escape and delete. There. Okay, so now that is going to be, ooh, this is actually managed, so this should be on, so I'm going to change this to on. On. Next, go to the end, append, enter. Other config flag should be on, so I'll just copy, paste it as is. And over here in assist, I want this to be off. So go here, FF, hit it, and there. Escape, escape, write quit. I'll just write the file. So now in assist, when that file gets written, managed flag will be off, other flag should be on. So quit, and now let's cat, and if I remember correctly, this was for assisted, right? So now assisted, it said managed flag on. I'm gonna hit save again so that it writes the file again. Maybe I messed up something. Let's go back to my SSH session. Oh, I forgot the semicolon there, and I also actually forgot to add break, so let me just quickly do that too. Okay, and there we go. That should fix it. Let's go cat. It's still the same. Advanced advertisement managed flag on. Let's go back. Let's just go back there. And assisted. Let's write it again. Save. And go to pfSense and do cat. Again, managed flag off. Good. Now let's check out Wireshark and refresh it again and see what is being advertised. Solicitation. Let's wait for a neighbor router advertisement. There, this is perfect. This is exactly the way we want it. Managed address configuration not set, off, other configurations set, and autonomous address configuration. Basically auto configure yourself, and that flag is set also. Okay, so now I will see if I can switch it on and off my IPv6 stack, and this time around it should only auto config using the auto config feature and not through DHCP, and it should still get the DNS servers, and it did it automatically. I didn't even have to do anything. This is perfect, guys. So that's about wraps this monstrous video on IPv6 and how to connect to the internet using IPv6. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did making it. Have a good day, guys. Bye.